Alright, so I decided I was going to make this new channel, simply because I do not want it being associated with my other channels, as they are not only unrelated but in many ways contradictory. Although every truth is but a half truth, as so the Hermeticists say. Now, I've been thinking of making this channel for a while, although I sort of wanted it on like a completely separate sort of brand channel, not to be associated with the rest of my brands, businesses, and everything else. Because the name of this channel, ironically, is plausible or plausibly explained. That's the name of the channel is plausibly explained, plausible explanations, the plausible explainer. So yeah, that's it's going to be kind of the theme of this channel is explaining things that are otherwise plausibly deniable and very much go against the mainstream narrative. So sure, even if they are well known, and it's sort of common sense, they're sort of the unspoken rules of, you could say, many societies and many systems. They are in many ways the social undercurrent of any society. And in fact, I would argue that these social undercurrents are more important in a society than the exterior, you could say, facades or faces, or sort of the more overt aspects of a society and the more overt aspects of a culture. And what I mean by the overt aspects of a culture is sort of the commonly accepted doctrines, morals, mores, norms, and ideologies that a society considers to be deemed to be good, moral, ethical, so on and so forth. Or as you could say, these social undercurrents are more driven by id, maybe perhaps even sadistic desires. And as we come to learn that sadism and narcissism are very much a major part of human civilization. They are part of humanity itself, just as is eating, shitting, sleeping, and having sex. Also, you could say pissing as well. You have to take a piss from every now and then. And giving birth and lactating, feeding your babies, kind of getting from one generation to the next. And keeping the species alive, or at minimum, your bloodline. With that being said, that's what we're here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is the, you could say, the criminal justification system, as I like to call it in at least Western societies. So, criminal justification systems, or you could say law enforcement and justification. I don't say justice, I say justification. Because, in other words, 9 times out of 10, justice is merely someone looking for an excuse to do something that they wanted to do all along, that they just want to do anyways. And so they're sort of looking for a reason, if they really feel like it, to put you away. And if they don't, well, they'll find every reason to not put you away, or they'll find a way to sort of delay the process, to make your life easier and say, well, because of procedural errors, or we lack funding, or we're understaffed, some sort of excuse, if you will. Likewise, if someone wants to see you be, fucked up, put away, hurt, then likewise, they'll find a reason. It's just a matter of you making the wrong decision at the wrong time, or for them, it's the right decision at the right time, and then, well, that's it. Got your plan. You can do what you always wanted to do all along. And I say that in the nicest way possible. Because the truth is, down to the core, we are all sadistic. We are all narcissistic to some degree. I would even argue that even the most forgiving and loving Christians are sadistic to a degree. You could say that the difference between a conqueror and a liberator is that the conqueror wishes to control and the liberator wishes to humiliate. Humiliate through liberation. And I've learned this throughout working in the industry of violence and, by extension, the industry of sex. And when I say the industry of violence, 9 times out of 10, it was the industry of deterrence. And while I think many of us have the best of intentions within the industry of, say, violence, it oftentimes turns out that it's only a matter of time before the wrong person gets in the right position. In other words, as Jordan Peterson put it, and God, it had to have been a video from maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's already almost fall of 2025, how time has passed. But Jordan Peterson mentioned how it's much easier to make things worse than it is to make them better. So in other words, you could say it's a lot easier for a power-hungry narcissist, sadist, or I should say a power-hungry narcissist and particularly a sadistic narcissist to get into a position of power rather than a Machiavellian or a sort of, you could say, a very altruistic person. Because even at its core, altruism is essentially just sadism towards narcissists. Or that's oftentimes what happens with altruism. If you help out one group, you hurt another, whether directly or indirectly, intentionally or unintentionally. Because think of it like this. If there's a war between, say, 2 countries or 2 ethnic groups or 2, a non-state actor and an official government, what happens when you help out one group? Well, they're going to use that help to strengthen themselves, to be stronger, better, and faster, so they can push their agenda. And oftentimes that includes hurting the other group. Likewise, as I was saying before, it's much easier to hurt 1 million people than it is to heal 1 person. Because for time immemorial, we've been pretty good at killing each other. Very good at it. But it isn't really until maybe the latter half of the 20th century that we became pretty good at healing people. It takes a lot more to heal than it does to hurt. Hurting is easy. Destroying people is easy. Helping others and improving things is so much harder. So that is why sadistic and narcissistic individuals tend to get to positions of power much faster. So I think that'll be it for the introductory of this channel. I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you all stay, watch some more. Thanks, guys.